Well, that's why I've gone through 6 road crews already.
Yeah. A lot of your friends who are helping out this road?
Oh, yeah, lots. And it's like when you're doing this kind of thing, you're going to wear out your friends too, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, people have commitments too, right?
Exactly.
So, you got to expect that,
Yeah.
you know, and it's great that they could help you out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been sort of like a quilt.
I think it's a well, Mike.
Hey. Keep it up! Keep it up! All right. I hope you heard that. I hope we got that whole thing on film. What's today? 382? Today is day 382, and we are in New Westminster, and we're just commencing our walk. We have about a 20-minute walk to City Hall, where we shall meet the mayor. It is a Friday. Friday, July the 6th. Hi. This has been, so far, a success. The operations were fun. But Toronto is a good place to start.
Do that, but also having it here is kind of good.
Yeah.
So that people can see. Wait, kind of like a banner in the back.
So I saw a couple of restaurants that I thought would be good
I know, I saw you as we were walking.
You know what? You maybe had a minute to make a presentation while we were walking. I did that once, and it worked out great.
Huh?
While you're walking with the restaurant, make the pro bono.
There was an Italian restaurant right there that...
Yeah, I waved at him, and I thought that's where we're coming back to. And there was another one too. There was another one.
Yeah, there's the Spaghetteria up there on 6.
Yeah, they saw us. So
yeah, yeah.
hopefully they'll.
Remember? Look at this. I got a scratch at the 7-Eleven, and now it's getting bigger and bigger.
You better put something on it then.
I can sue 7-Eleven.
Don't worry about it. I'm George Marcello. Glad to have you. What we want to do now is present you the torch.
Okay.
And Todd, who you're familiar with, will pass it to you.
And then what do I do?
And you just hold it and smile very pretty at the camera.
Is this your photography?
It's part of a documentary.
Okay.
So, Todd, would we get you sort of handing it over?
Do you want to take this and then I can
Handing it over.
I gotta do...
Oh, are you doing the thank yous?
Okay.
I was just writing it out.
Smile. I think they did one story. I'm not sure if they're going to still come here
We actually have a microphone set up down
Oh,
here.
okay.
But there's no point in doing that if there's nobody here.
Yeah. Or we can do it.
How is it going on? Is there any other dignitaries here? Any MPs, MLAs?
Nope.
No? It's Friday. Friday's always such
The
a bad
deputy police chief is
Oh,
here.
yes, okay, if we can
Mike?
pass it to the,
Yes.
we're gonna get,
Oh, is it?
It's
Yeah,
stinky.
keep it downwind.
Yes, Your Worship.
I'm going to pass this on to you now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll pass the torch on to you.
Oh, thank you.
the torch of life.
Thank you.
And, hundreds of thousands of Canadians have received
Mike?
it to the,
Yes.
we're gonna get,
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Stinky.
keep it downwind.
Yes, Your Worship.
I'm going to pass this on to you now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll pass the torch on to you.
Oh, thank you.
the torch of life.
Thank you.
And, hundreds of thousands of Canadians have received this torch, and it's their way of supporting organ and tissue donations. And we're happy to have you here to receive it on behalf of the police department.
I'm pleased to do that. It's a great job that you're doing, raising the level of awareness for transplant. It's really great work. Thank you.
Tell me, I was carrying all the way down 6th Street. It's like a little furnace.
In the, let me take that off? Yeah, thanks very much.
Can you do it?
Your torch
Oh,
is
yeah,
a
just
little
right
bit
more
larger
fuel
than
in that by
I'd
the
have
looks
to
of it.
jog it for a while. So now you started out from where?
Toronto,
It's a great pleasure on behalf of City Council and all the citizens of New Westminster to welcome George Marcello as he walks across Canada to raise awareness of organ and tissue donations. The long-term vision of Step by Step, the organization with which Mr. Marcello is associated, is to see organ and tissue donations come easily and readily available for any Canadian in need of a transplant to live or to improve their quality of life. Most of us know about the need for donor organs and tissue, and we know that their availability lags far behind that need. Many of us even intend to sign up as donors one of these days, but few of us take the next step of actually doing something about it. Actually, my husband came home the other day and with his forms and said, I've signed up, so maybe he's too old though, I don't know. Mr. Marcello has done and continues to do something about it. And after receiving a liver transplant in 1995, he walked from Toronto to Ottawa in support of the Canadian Liver Foundation. Then in the summer of 1999, he walked 2,000 kilometers across Ontario to educate the public and raise awareness about the desperate need to increase the rate of organ and tissue donations in Canada. In June of 2000, he took on the largest challenge yet, to walk across Canada. Not only is that taking the next step, it's taking several million steps. The patience, empathy, perseverance, and clarity of purpose of George Marcello continue to have a positive effect on many individuals, families, and community organizations. And perhaps more importantly, as he makes his way across this country, he achieves his goal of increasing awareness of the need for organ and tissue donations. Congratulations, Mr. Marcello. Your willingness to follow through on your convictions and put yourself through untold hours of physical stress and discomfort to achieve your goals serves as a role model to all of us. And I'd like to thank Todd also for coming out. He has given up kidney, I believe, to your brother? Yes. Your brother, so congratulations for doing that, and I'm sure you appreciate the quality of life that your brother has now. Yeah, good. Okay, and so maybe George, I'd ask you to say a few words if you'd like to.
Thank you, Mayor. Today is day 382 of a 769-day walk, and I was really happy to walk with Todd today and share some of our feelings and thoughts about all this. And I was mentioning to Todd that we've pretty well calculated that we have over 25 million steps to cover by the time we finish. And every step that we're taking is to acknowledge that heroic decision, you know, of people becoming organ donors. Like the benefits that are involved are so tremendous. It affected my life 6 years ago because I was told I only had 2 days left to live, and my only chance for survival was an organ transplant. And because an individual made that choice to become an organ donor, my life was saved and 5 others. And we have to let every Canadian know how important it is to make this decision. So the 25 million steps that I'm taking is to honor those people, because people that become organ donors are the heroes. They're the heroes. They're the ultimate heroes, because saving up to 6 people's lives and possibly benefiting and restoring the lives of maybe 25 others, which we heard that, you know, you're affecting not only 20 individuals, but their families and their friends. One decision is positively affecting over 1,000 people. You know, so we every step that we're taking, we're letting people know that it is so important to think about this and to make that decision. And it's my pleasure right now to call Todd down here, because I think his personal story is going to have an effect on you also. So if you may, Todd.
Hi. I wasn't really expecting to be speaking today, but here I am. And, you know, I'd just like to say that I think it's great what George is doing, because, you know, organ transplants hasn't got a lot of media attention. And we hear about cancers and all the other things I think that, you know, we're well aware of. But you know, the simple step of signing a donor card can make a big difference to somebody's life. And, you know, we all hope to live a long and prosperous life, but, you know, inevitably, you know, accidents happen. And I guess for the remaining family members, it can make a big difference on, you know, their life. And, you know, just in the fact that they can see of a family member or a friend or a relative be a benefit to somebody else. And I think that can go a long way sometimes. And it's something that a lot of people might not think about when they're signing that card. But, you know, having a brother that went through, I guess, the trauma of not knowing if, you know, he's going to, you know, have a life, and, you know, how long he is going to live because of a kidney disease, which was, I guess, given a little history on it, it was an unfortunate event. He got sick at a very young age and had to have surgery, and as a result of the surgery, he ended up with an infection. And to this day, as far as the doctors can tell him, he was given the injection of something that saved his life from that infection, but it killed his kidneys. And he only had 25% of each kidney functioning after that event, and they deteriorated later in his life. And he was, he was on the transplant list for 2 years before I ended up donating the kidney to him. And you know, he had a limited life potentially ahead of him without a transplant. And at that time, I think the list was around 2 to 3 years on the waiting list. And you know, now I believe it's 5 or 6 years. And so it can make a big difference to people's lives. And you know, I wasn't aware of the potential. And unfortunately, you know, with kidney disease, you do have the ability to function normally, as you can see. I don't take any medication or anything. With one kidney, the remaining kidney compensates itself for the loss of the other kidney. And you know, it you know, obviously has made a big difference in my brother's life. And to me, that's the biggest reward. I don't consider myself a hero. I think anybody in the same circumstances would do the same thing. In my brother's case, he never once mentioned to me that there was the potential of, you know, a family member donating a kidney. I didn't find out until a year into the, you know, his dialysis stage. And, you know, when I found out, I was a little bit apprehensive at first and looked into, you know, the process and, you know, what quality of life it would leave me with. And when I found that there was no difference in life, you know, it was a natural choice. And I, you know, I'm confident that anybody in similar circumstances would do the same thing for a brother or family member. So I don't consider myself a hero at all, but I do think what George is doing is a great cause. And, you know, I wish him all the best of luck in his trip across Canada. And I hope inspired a few people today to go and register their cards. And I believe they're available at London Drugs. And George is going to be be at the city or Royal City Centre this weekend, set up in front of the white spots, and he'll have donor cards there, and we'll be, looking for people to sign up. Anyway, I'll hand it back to George. I hope I didn't talk.
And I also want to acknowledge my road crew, Tia Tony Wilson. Where is she? Oh, she's over there. She came on board about a week ago, and she's committed the next year to stay on the road as my road manager as I'm making my way to St. John's, Newfoundland, and then all the way back to Toronto for a finish of July 27th, 2002. So she's a native BC from Kelowna, and so glad to have her aboard. And also my BC road manager who met me in Calgary, Alberta, David Wright-Smith. He's from Victoria, BC. He's also a liver transplant recipient. And he has been with me for a little over 3 months now. And he's done so much work, and he just left his whole life to be with me. And I called him up on a minute's notice, and he came out to Calgary because I was without a road crew, and he's just had a tremendous effect with all the activities in BC Transplant. So I want him to come up here to say a few words, and also to thank a few other much needed people to be thanked.
Thank you, George. There we go. Thank you all for coming out today. It's a real honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be here. We had a very busy morning, and my mind is clearly not on the task at the moment, but I will do the best that I can do. I had a liver transplant actually the day before George had his, back in the summer of '95, and I was down to my last few days at that point. And I just thank God every day that I'm able to continue my life, and hopefully to influence a few other people to become organ donors, and also to help people to realize that transplantation is not voodoo medicine anymore. It's very mainstream, and we're pretty active, and we lead pretty normal lives. So to be a transplant recipient, and to be a transplant recipient is you pretty well go back to 100% activity. They're 95% successful, so I just wanted to mention that. And I also wanted to mention how the rigors of the road really are quite at the forefront of what we do. And it's very difficult to organize a press conference every day in a different community. For George and Tia and myself to know exactly where we're going, we actually had to phone the police today to get us going in the right direction, and that doesn't happen very often, mind you. I notice the roads in your community are very, there's a lot of them, and they're all going in different directions. We ended up going west on Highway 1 when we should have been heading right into New Westminster today, but we managed to get here on time. And I'd also like to thank a few people. In every community that we go to, we find that some people we understand and realize that certain people in your communities, in each community that we go to, are the lifeblood of your community. Without community service, you wouldn't have a community. And we are helped in so many ways that are so almost immeasurable to comprehend sometimes. So I would like to thank Joey Tomatoes in Coquitlam, who fed us last night. I never got the chance to thank them at a press conference, and they did a wonderful job, and that's a great restaurant, so I hope that you'll all go there sometime, because it was a really good dining experience. And I would like to thank Sergeant Doug Deacon and Corporal Al Fouquet from the RCMP, New Westminster Police, I'm sorry, who did a wonderful job at bringing us here. And without their support, without their help, we would have a much tenser and a more dangerous time on the road. We could not do it without them. So hats off to them for coming out and supporting us. And we've got incredible support from all of the police detachments in the communities that we've gone through, especially here in the Lower Mainland. So thank you very much. And the Westminster Inn is taking care of us this weekend. And I'm looking forward to that because I've heard nothing but good things about that hotel. So we will be there. And we will also be at the Royal Centre Inn, the Royal City Centre for the weekend, and we'll be handing out donor registration forms, so you can tell all your friends that we'll be there, and we'd like to have people come on by and have a chat with us. And one thing that I notice whenever we do these malls, we get the most amazing people who are actually have stories to tell about their donor recipient transplant travails that they experience. And I won't go into any details, but we meet children that have had transplants. We meet parents that have donated their children's organs, which is a terrible thing to have to deal with, but they come and they share those stories with us. We have people that are on the waiting list. We have people that are waiting to go on the waiting list, which is another thing, and I know how apprehensive, which is a mild word to use, but I know how apprehensive these people are feeling at the time. So we're able to give them some words of hope, and they can see that we're not suffering too badly as a result of our transplants. And so hopefully we'll meet some of your community people who want to come out and talk to us about that. And I'd also like to thank in advance the restaurants that are going to feed us this weekend. At this point, we have nobody. But that's going to change because we find that once people see what we're doing and see how we're making a difference, they're more than happy to help us out. So thank you to the restaurant community of New Westminster in advance for that. And I would like to, last but not least, I would like to thank I'd like to thank Todd for coming out here today. And Todd, you are a wonderful example of representing the activities that we're trying to do, and I applaud you at making that decision to donate a kidney to your brother. It is a heroic effort. It really is. And I would like to thank Colleen for helping to organize this today. Thank you so much. And you got a really interesting job. And I must say, I don't feel envy very often, but I wish I had your job. Maybe not here, but somewhere else. And Mayor, I want to thank you for making all of this possible. And I also want to thank you for those kind words. What George is doing is an incredible feat, and I live with this every day. Tia and I are both in awe of George, really. And we're a team, and we work pretty well together. And I wish I was going on from St. John's, Newfoundland. I think I'm going to be part of this in some capacity from now and forever, because this the Step-by-Step Organ Transplant Association will continue in some form, because it's like the Canadian Blood Services. They keep reminding us to give blood, and we have to keep reminding people to be organ donors. So that is probably how we will do it. So I think I finished, and I want to thank everybody for coming here, the police and the municipal representatives that are here right now. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you once again for coming to New Westminster. I would also like to extend our thanks to Colleen. She did all the organizing of this, and we're just happy to be here. Sorry to hear you haven't got restaurants yet, but maybe we can get the word out there for you, and we know where you're staying anyhow, so we can have the phone calls. And I guess what I'd like to ask you, do you have any of the donation cards here? Then maybe we can distribute a few here, because I'm sure these people won't be at Rail City Centre.